Next, we have Bob Yazbeck. As Vice President of Digital Methods, Bob fuels the advancement of research through online communities, mobile research, and online qualitative. As a leader of the team that developed the iCommunities platform with General Motors in 2005, Bob played a crucial role in their evolution, including the development of meta-communities, larger, more complex communities with diverse populations of consumers. Bob generates innovative ways to bring consumers into the virtual boardroom to develop more relevant and powerful brands. So here's Bob.
So I'm here to talk to you today about how mobile will kick research in the ass. Okay, I had some stats here for you. I'm going to go over these real quickly because we've talked about them quite a bit today. The point here is that most people have their phones with them 24/7, and it's a very big part of our lives, especially accessing our social networks. And this is even more so for the young generation, the millennials. Let's talk about some research we've done. Last year at this conference, my colleague Michael Leoto presented some findings on the validity of the survey. So before we even got going too far into the mobile research world, we just wanted to make sure that they were valid. And of course we found they were. We got some really good results from them. And one other finding that we had that was really intriguing was that we could get survey links up to 10 minutes and still get some good results. So another bit of research that we just conducted this year by my colleague Greg Heist, he presented this at a conference earlier this year that shall remain nameless, was about authenticity with smartphones. And we found that people are censoring themselves quite a bit on their social networks, which was a very interesting finding for us, and that they're limiting their discussions to kind of the big things, big purchases, large things going on in their lives, and they're censoring themselves. And the reason why that is they don't want to look foolish to their peer group or to their friends. What we found, though, is when you put mobile into the mix, that short circuits the whole censorship issue, and that since these devices are always with you 24/7, you're much likelier to talk about all your experiences and all your different products. Even some of the little things you're going out and buying or some of the little things that happen in your life. Since your mobile device is right there, you can just pull it out and text about it or talk to your friends about it, and you don't have to censor yourself at all. So that encourages a more authentic self-expression. And of course, as researchers, that's one of the holy grails for us. Some other research that's going on right now, and I wish I had the results for you because it sounds like this is kind of a hot topic out there, and this is the field right now, is the whole idea of modular surveys. So again, going back to what I said earlier, that we found that, hey, we can do some really decent length surveys on mobile, but we know that about 10 minutes is the max. So we're experimenting now with some shorter snack size surveys, and taking this approach and combining it with data fusion, with the hope that we can break the 20-minute survey paradigm that as researchers we come to know and love online. And why this is so intriguing for us too is that we're combating time compression now. So as people get more and more busy in their lives and they want to do things now and they want it yesterday, we're going to need to have a great approach with these modular surveys to be able to combat that, because there's going to come a time pretty soon where we're not going to be able to do those 20-minute online surveys anymore. So we have to be ready for that. So up to this point, mobile has kind of fallen into three camps, and it's been pretty predictable, and they've been good. I mean, it's where it should be right now. First of all, I'll start in quant. As we talked about today, some of our other presenters mentioned that quant and mobile has been around in some form for many years now. And it was kind of a natural evolution to move from the quant space into the mobile world because of the devices that were available. Next phase was qual. And the reason why this is so popular is that with the advent of smartphones, they've become the new camera. I just had my digital camera break the other day, and I'm thinking about not even replacing it because I have a smartphone now. I find myself never using it anymore. Your smartphone is your new camera into your life for still photography and video. So you get that whole ethnographic aspect from qual on mobile, and so why bother going any other way? Something that's near and dear to my heart, online communities. The logical application of mobile through that was for us and so a few other companies, was the whole idea of creating an app so that you can extend the community to the mobile device and take it away and untether it from the PC. We also found something interesting in Greg's research that he did earlier this year, is that not only were people more authentic on their mobile device, but they're also more authentic in an online community. And of course that is because they have a bit more anonymity in those communities. And so the combination of both mobile and the online community really leads to some really deep authenticity. Very exciting finding for us. So even our superheroes can't stand alone. We're getting into this mobile space, but I think back, I lived through the whole internet era and knew that that'd take many years for that kind of take hold. We have to do the same thing with mobile right now. So I'm going to share with you a few approaches that we've taken where we've kind of combined mobile with a few other types of methods to make sure that mobile gets off to a great start. First was an example of a quant study. So this is a study we did where we combined mobile and the online. In this particular example, we were going to send respondents into a big box retailer to evaluate a new display. So the approach we took was, again, a combination of online and mobile. So we did some pre-work online, first of all, kind of the screening questions, kind of some demographics, get them prepped for the mobile space. And then we sent them into the store with their mobile device, with their smartphone, and sent them to the display and had them evaluate the display right there. And we ensured that they were at the store and at the display, and I'll explain in a minute how that worked. When they were done with that aspect of the research, they came back to their PC and they filled out some online survey just to finish up. So going back to the idea of making sure they're at the right store at the right time, we introduced a concept called geo-validation. And this is where that we use the GPS capabilities of the phone and match it up to the store data. So we had certain test stores and control stores. We had to make sure that they were at the correct test stores. This way we were able to verify that when they were at the store they said they were, they had to kind of check in, and we could make sure that they were at that store. And if they weren't, they couldn't proceed with the survey. Now, of course, this is all brand new stuff, so what did we learn? It wasn't all wine and roses. There's a lot of learnings here. A couple things I want to go over real quick. First of all, the incentive. This might seem like a lot of money, but we actually experimented with a couple different incentive amounts, anywhere from $15 to $50. We found $30 was a sweet spot. And remember, too, that we had to send people out to the store, so it wasn't like they were just sitting in front of their PCs doing this. The geo-validation I told you about, that didn't work perfectly. We had about a 50% success rate. Took a lot of TLC with these respondents to get them through that part of it. We had structural barriers about being in the store. Obviously not all stores have the same internet access. And as researchers, we always strive for KISS, keep it simple, stupid. That did not work in this case. We had to have very, very explicit instructions, had to walk them through everything. Actually, as we got through the study a little bit, we ended up even calling some respondents personally just to help them out. So great learnings. We got some great findings out of the research. It was really well received. But I just want to be honest with you. You're going to go through this kind of stuff as you get going with mobile. I have a qualitative example for you. This is where we combine mobile with some online work and some in-person work, too. So this was a product placement study for some men's apparel, for men's pants. And the approach was, it was a couple-week study. So in the first week, we had them kind of go on a bulletin board, or we call them go boards. And we had them journal a little bit about their experience with shopping for clothes, buying men's pants. And these are all millennial guys. So what we did was we sent them their clothing. We asked them to wear the pants, to wash the pants, repeat. And also to upload self-portraits of themselves. So there's an example of one of our participants who shot himself wearing his pants. And then after that, we followed that up with some peer group discussions. So what did we learn from this particular research? First of all, don't assume that dudes know how to upload photos. So this was really intriguing for us because we thought if anyone would know how to do this, it would be millennial men, young guys. And of course, it didn't work that way. So, again, we went in thinking one thing. We ended up having to, have some contingency planning along the way to make sure that they knew how to do this kind of stuff. Engagement. We had to really be there for them 24/7 because everything was online and on mobile. They expected us to always be there with an answer. So we had to make sure that the engagement was always there too for them. The photos were an interesting issue. Again, we just assumed that since everyone had, all these guys had mobile devices and they would know how to take really good photos. We had a lot of issue with the photos. Some came out really bad, some were low resolution. We had to have them take photos again. So again, it took a lot of instructions, a lot of making sure that, they were doing things the way we wanted it to do. And of course, since this was a multi-phase study, all the phases had to flow together very carefully, and so that took a lot of coordination. The last example I want to share with you is a combination of an online community and mobile. So this is for a new vehicle launch for a new subcompact vehicle, and that's targeted for a younger audience. And so the manufacturer wanted to get some fast feedback on this vehicle. So we had an approach where we first of all, put these people into a community. So this community went on for a couple months. And during the course of the community, we wanted to really get to understand these people a little bit more and also do a little experimentation. So we did some live mobile ethno with them. And I'm actually going to share right now what that looks like. So this clip, I'm going to serve it up here for you real quick. The moderator, his name is Curtis. He was back in our office in Michigan. And the respondent, she was in her, she actually started in her home, then she walked up to her vehicle, and she was in Tennessee. So the exciting thing about this is that Curtis was able to kind of get the interview going with her. And then as a professional moderator, he was able to probe her a little bit to uncover some things we wouldn't normally get from her.
What is the single greatest frustration or thing that you feel like they need to fix in future models that you've discovered?
Well, there are several things. They need to put a console. It has no console. They also need to put an armrest right here on this passenger seat. I have an armrest on my driver's seat, but the passenger seat doesn't have an armrest.
Okay.
And they need to put the mirror that adjusts to the headlights.
Okay. So as you can guess, we had a lot of learnings from this one. Number one, participation. Mobile enabled doesn't mean mobile abled. We were really surprised because of all those people in the community, they were all people that supposedly were pretty comfortable with technology. And in fact, we picked the best people that we could find in the community to participate in this live mobile ethno. That still didn't mean that it went flawlessly. I mean, these people still had issues with their phones. They kind of self-selected themselves as, hey, I'm really great with these mobile devices, and they weren't. Same thing, that feeds into the engagement and the enthusiasm. We thought people would be really enthused about this. Typically, anyone who's done automotive research knows that when people buy a new car, it's a big, very big purchase, and so typically there's this halo period where they're very excited about their purchase and want to tell everyone about it. In this case, it was really interesting that they weren't as enthusiastic as we anticipated. And we think we had something to do with the whole community and mobile aspect where it kind of put a little barrier up for them for that, where they couldn't share as easily as they wanted to. The environment, as you can see from that clip, that was one of the better clips. We had some really bad ones. We had some real good ones. There was ambient noise. We couldn't control all that. There's lighting. So we're learning, but we're trying to get better at that kind of stuff. And the final thing is 4G cannot arrive fast enough. There was a big difference. We tried it with some 3G phones. Didn't work at all. You need 4G and 4G hotspots to make this thing kind of work. So how's mobile going to kick research in the ass in the future? A couple of things to sum up here. Number one, I wanted to encourage you guys to fight the good fight. It's going to take a little doing. You can't give up on it. Think back again, those around back in the internet time, it took a lot of years to kind of make this mainstream. The same thing's going to have to happen with mobile. Got to keep pushing. Number two, you're going to have to keep experimenting. So just like we showed you here, you got to try some different things. Already mobile's kind of starting to fall into those three silos, and that's great. They fit really well there. But push the boundaries of those. And third, I'm a cautious person. So, start with multimodal approaches. You want to make sure that you mitigate the risks because there are growing pains. And you don't want to put all your eggs in your mobile basket just yet. Because number one, we don't want mobile to get a bad reputation. And number two, as a supplier, I would not want to have a study fail because of that. So I'm going to leave you with one more inspirational clip from the movie Kick-Ass, and we'll wrap it up.
Hey! There's a dude dressed like a superhero out there fighting a bunch of guys. Ah!
Give it up, man. Just walk away.
No, never. Who are you? I'm Kick-Ass.
I love that they were taking pictures with their smartphones of the new superhero. That's all I have for you guys. Thank you.
This is Rani Chowdhury again from P&G. A quick question on, you mentioned data fusion. Did you try to do some of those with some secondary data, match it up?
Yeah, actually, I want to make sure I preface that real clearly. I tried to when I went through the presentation. This research is in the field right now. And so we're experimenting with a couple different data fusion techniques. It should be ready in the late fall, and we're going to definitely present it out when we have it done. But we are going to look into some different methods to fuse that data together. But honestly, it's too early to, I can't give you an honest answer right now about how that's going to look right now, what techniques we're going to use.
We'll connect later. Thank you.
Yep.
Can you just follow up on that as sort of what data fusion means and not how it works?
Yeah, let me explain a little bit how this research is going to go. So again, in this particular research we're doing, and I'll give you a little background. This is a preface for what's going to be appearing later on in the year. We took a AANU study that was 30 minutes long. It was done as an online survey. And we're going to break it up into 3 10-minute surveys, so the modular approach. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use data fusion, so some data fusion analytical techniques to put the results from those 3 surveys back together again. Now those 3 surveys are being taken by 3 different groups of people. And so we need to have those data fusion techniques to put the data back together again. As we're doing that, we're going to compare that to a control group, which is doing the research online. And so what we're hoping for when we're all done is that the online results that we get are going to match up to the modular survey results that we get when we fuse the information together. Okay, thank you.